give a warm welcome to Dr. Susanna Dodson.
I would like to thank Robin and Terry for your good work organising activists to protest wrongs and for recognising the voices of Puerto Rico activists who are appalled at the ongoing atrocities in Palestine and now in Lebanon. First, I need to tell you about Madres Contra La Guerra, an activist who show up weekly to protest the destruction of Palestine. The rally is in front of the Israeli Consulate in Greater San Juan, Puerto Rico. This group was started and continues to be run by Dr. Sonia Santiago Hernandez. And since October 31st, 2023, she has also organized rallies in support of Palestine outside the National Guard, at the Holocaust Memorial, and at other government buildings in San Juan. In 1899, Puerto Rico was expecting to become an independent nation when the U.S. military landed. Spain had given up its other colonies in the Americas, and Puerto Rico was the only one left. The U.S. military did not liberate Puerto Rico, but turned it into a territory, a colony. In 1917, due to the heroic efforts of Puerto Rican activists, every person born in Puerto Rico is a U.S. citizen. However, until today, no resident of Puerto Rico gets to vote in any federal election. The single representative of Puerto Rico in Congress does not get a vote, and all goods coming into Puerto Rico must be transported by U.S.-owned, U.S.-run ships and planes, which explains why Walmart has more stores in Puerto Rico than in any state. In 1917, Britain promised Palestinian homelands to the growing Zionist movement in a short, ambiguous letter known as the Balfour Declaration. This promise was greatly encouraged by the involvement of Russian settlers in Palestine who had been trained in weapons and strategy by British Army officers. The so-called Zionist Mule Corps had maintained a supply line during the 1915 Gallipoli campaign, a direct line from 1917 to today in Palestine. A direct line from 1917 to today in Puerto Rico. The United States has done well from Puerto Rico and continues to do well. You can see videos of Puerto Rican protests on https://peacescientists.org, including Dr. Sonia, who speaks excellent English. However, Spanish is her mother tongue, and Madres Contra La Guerra are all the protests are in Spanish, which is not a problem with automatic translating subtitles. Okay, now here I'm going to give you now two statements from Dr. Sonia Santiago Hernandez. The first one is a general statement about her organization. Good afternoon. My name is Dr. Sonia Santiago Hernandez, and I have been a practicing clinical psychologist for decades, mostly in Puerto Rico, but also for some years in California. I started Madres Contra La Guerra, which translates as Mothers Against War, because my eyes were opened by my eldest son, who's in this picture. My son had student loans because he wanted my money to go to help his younger brothers through college. A U.S. military recruiter told him that if he enlisted, his loans would be canceled. My husband and I did not know he had enlisted, and before long, he entered Iraq with the occupying forces in 2003 with the 1st Brigades. While he was there, he started writing to me that he was against what they were doing, that they put him to guard the oil wells. He told me, "This is oil. I am in the military to protect oil." Madres Contra La Guerra is a pacifist organization existing to help families to understand that their sons do not have to enlist in the U.S. military to do well. Our organization includes 200 families. Additionally to helping young people find alternate paths to careers, we help veterans with legal and mental health issues. Frequently and seriously, veterans returning from war zones and recruits returning from training have neurological damage from explosions. Many veterans from war zones have post-traumatic stress syndrome, and many develop psychotic leaks. We urge the military to take care of conscientious objectors. We offer support, education. We go to colleges by invitation. We are a non-profit organization registered with the State Department of Puerto Rico. We also urge families to educate for peace at home. We have crimes in the street of San Juan. Many of our youths don't go to war. They're not in the U.S. Army, and yet they are killing each other in the streets. We educate for peace, teaching skills and tools to get people to learn that instead of mistreating someone with violence, they need to work to learn how to control emotions and not to resort to bravado towards a conflict as a resolution of a conflict. Bravado brings nothing. The last statement is the message that Dr. Sonia gave on the one-year anniversary of the start of the Israeli destruction of Gaza. October 7th marked 1 year since Israel increased its genocidal campaign of extermination of the Palestinian people. Since the beginning of October this year, we also denounce Israel's aggression against the Lebanese people, which since last week has already claimed the lives of more than 2,000 Lebanese and injured 6,000 innocent people. And that was on October 7th. It's more now. Mothers Against War joined the international clamor for an immediate ceasefire, for the return of the usurped lands and the reconstruction of a free Palestine. Respect for self-determination and sovereignty in Palestine are the same demands we Puerto Ricans have. These are the inalienable rights of all nations. Let us remember that Palestine was robbed of its territory more than 77 years ago when the illegal Zionist state of Israel was created, driven by the U.S. and its allies. Palestine is a colony of Israel since 1948, just as Puerto Rico is a Yankee colony since 1899. Colonialism and imperialism are obsolete scourges in the history of humanity, and this barbarity occurs with the utmost impunity, complacency, and the armed support of the United States and its allies. The Zionist government of Israel acts this way because it has the backing of the machinery of the U.S. military industrial complex, which supplies it with $3 billion annually in weapons and ammunition, fighter jets, and logistical support. Joe Biden has committed to sending an additional $300 billion. The grip of the military-industrial complex and the attempt at geopolitical control are fundamental keys in this equation. The shares of Lockheed Martin and other producers of war have risen since the genocide began. Israel and the United States want to usurp Palestine's oil and natural gas. Texaco is pumping oil from the coast without paying anything to Palestine. Israel is attacking sacred institutions in the defense of Palestinian human rights. The constant bombing of refugee centers, schools and hospitals have claimed the lives of more than 45,000 martyrs, most of them women, children, and elderly people. In the words of Daniel Levy, former advisor to the Israeli government, one of the key reasons we are here today is the impunity that is granted to Israel International. Gaza is under 44,000 tons of rubble. There are more than 10,000 Palestinian prisoners in Israel's prisons, including children whose only crime is to oppose Israel's fascist regime. Torture and sexual abuse are evident in the testimonies of some of the inmates. When Israel attacks and destroys human rights institutions such as schools, shelters, and hospitals, they are trying to destroy the psyche and the essence, the being of Palestine. We urge the international community to intervene courageously to address the health and food needs in Palestine. Let the right of the Palestinian nation be right of the Palestinian nation to live in peace, free from colonialism and apartheid. let this be respected. We will continue to defend the Palestinian cause. We urge you to boycott pro-Zionist products such as Coca-Cola, Starbucks, Nestle, Dove, Nutella, Oreo, Zara, Texaco. From the river to the sea, Palestine will be free. Please stand in solidarity with Puerto Rico as we protest the genocide of Palestinians, the bombing of Lebanon, and all military actions which include Puerto Ricans who do not get to vote in federal elections. Free Palestine!
Free Palestine.
Free Puerto Rico!
Free Puerto Rico. Thank you, Susanna. Give Susanna a warm round of applause. And now we're going to ask everybody to come up because we are going to send a message